Sometimes parents ask me, is this normal? What's happening with my teenager or my 5 year old? It's an important question, and I'd like to talk about it a bit. I think there's a couple considerations that we need to remember. One of them is that children go through developmental stages. So, trying to reason with a 2 year old probably isn't the best way to help them overcome their anger, where you might reason with a teenager. So, our parenting changes over the years as we work with children. We call those shifts. We make shifts in our parenting. And we do it in all kinds of areas because our children need different things at different ages. And even sometimes the things we've done in one stage have contributed to some good things, but then we get to the next stage and we need to make some adjustments. Let me explain to you an idea or give you an illustration of that. When our children were very young, we taught them about saving money. And so they would have to save a certain amount of money that they got from gifts and so on. We used an envelope system for saving the money. But after a while, we realized our kids were older elementary kids that there was some stinginess going on in them. And we're thinking, oh, we've created a monster. It's all this about savings. And we realized we hadn't done enough about giving. So we made a parenting shift. And it doesn't mean that the things we did before were wrong. It's just we needed to make a change. I think parents regularly make parenting shifts to help their children adjust and do different things. But the question, is it normal? I'm not sure it's a good question because a lot of normal things, normal that is if you had a curve and you find out the majority of children do this, is not something we want to do. The majority of children have cell phones when they're too young for them. The majority of children have unlimited electronics access. Does that make that normal? I don't think normal is what we want. Certainly as Christians, we want to stand out. We want to be different. We want to choose our things that we do and teach our children based on convictions, not on what some people call normal. So when we recognize these different factors, then it helps us to make wiser choices with our children. So asking the question, is it normal, can draw attention to developmental stages. And even Paul does that in the Bible. He says in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 1 and 2, he says, brothers and sisters, I could not address you as people who live by the Spirit, but as people who are still worldly, mere infants in Christ. I gave you milk, not solid food, for you were not ready for it. So Paul understands developmental stages as he's describing spiritual growth. And he's comparing that to the physical growth that a baby has. We do the same thing with our children. We have to sense, what are they ready for? What should we expect? And then we want to bring about some change in them. So a child who gets to be 5, 6 years old, we can expect them to help clear the table. We can expect them to help vacuum the floor, or we can expect them to do some chores around the house. Even children who are younger than that can put away their toys when they're done. All of these things are things that we set up for kids so that there's a normal for our child that may not be normal for the rest of the world. We're not using all kinds of worldly examples to determine what's good for our family. Other people do it one way, but we do it differently. And we have to tell the kids that, because some kids think, oh, I'm not normal because my parents are so strict. And that's when you come up with your convictions and you say, we are living this way because we're following Jesus Christ. And so we're not trying to be normal in the sense of the median and the bell curve. What we're trying to do is we're trying to follow Jesus Christ. And that means that we're going to stand out. We're going to be different at times. So try to understand and figure out what's best for your child and not try to limit yourself with what's normal, because normal often is not the best thing for your family.